Welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about why Fireforce failed as a series. Not in terms of what it meant. I mean, if you like Fireforce, good. I'm not hating on it in terms of that. It's a very generic, good show, great action. Watch it if you want to. But I mean, when Fireforce came out with conjunction of Dr. Stone. They were praised as the next big thing before Demon Slayer, before Jujutsu Kaisen. Like Fireforce, Dr. Stone, My Hero, Black Clover were the big things. Now, of course, what happened to Dr. Stone and Fireforce is that, of course, the pandemic happened, so they were forced to spread out the releases, of course. But as well as when you watch the story of Fireforce and what many people didn't like about the show and why it never ended up to a Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, is that one, the fan service. Tamadori, look. The cat girl basically throw in fan service anytime they can for no reason. Now I know in the story what I've been told from previous videos from Fireforce is that they do something interesting in her powers in the future, so I'm interested to see that. But in terms of everything, Fireforce failed to deliver in the special mechanics. The fight scenes, A1. People say they don't really like the fight scenes, the animation is not that good, but of course they're measuring it up to Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer as it was supposed to be on that same level. So when Fireforce is coming out, like Fireforce should be dropping, I think, this fall or this winter, and the Fireforce anime is way behind. But the Fireforce manga ended by the last year or earlier this year. Everyone forgot about it. They had there's no interesting characters in Fireforce. You have Benimaru, you have the captain of Squad 8, Arthur maybe. You have the black man from a different squad. I can't think of the squad and I can't think of his name. That is all cool, as they have the interesting power designs, interesting power dynamics with Pyrotechnus and Generation 2, Generation 3, and Generation 1. With Captain Burns, Benimaru, and then Shinra. Very strong and very appealing power system in terms. Even with the fight scenes, I actually really do like the fight scenes in terms of when Benimaru, Captain Burns, or Shinra is on scene. Especially Shinra versus Shell. That's one of my favorite fight scenes of the new gen anime. It's not mentioned, but very much a good fight. I'm not gonna lie. Now, my only thing is, and what many people have a problem and why it's not as popular as the other two, is that one, the releases are too far apart. 3, Fireforce since Fireforce now caters to live action, a lot of people just threw it to the side because it became another live action show, and eventually, because I got spoiled by the manga. I'm on social media, so of course I got spoiled by the manga. It will turn into a harem. It's a harem anime first. Like, you're introduced to Captain Tachibana, first one to fall in love with Shinra. Of course, he wants the nun, but I don't understand that. So he tries to get and he gets every single girl starts to fall with Shinra slowly and slowly. The cat girl falls for Shinra. Captain Tachibana falls for Shinra. Nun falls for Shinra. Everybody wants a piece of Shinra. So in terms of how the story was presented as someone who's just trying to deal with basically family drama, his brother's the villain, his mom's, fire, and then the Evangeline, like he's dealing with a lot within the story, as well as Captain Burns and Benimaru in the story. He's dealing with a lot. But when they threw in live action is when everyone flipped, because it was not like they threw in fan service once in a while. Not to make a joke, they threw in fan service like every 5 minutes of the episode, especially when it wasn't needed. So when you're watching the show, especially around the time when it was coming out in like 2017, 2018, around that time, right? And those shows was coming out, you didn't want to see a lot of fan service in terms of that. You just wanted to see a good show, and Fireforce delivered on so many aspects of the training arc, the district arc, the arcs was hitting. The story, though being generic, as Shimura is a generic shonen character. That's also what turns a lot of people off. It is a generic shonen. So I mean, if you don't like shonen, don't watch the show. But most people do, so of course. But if you just watch it, there's not, the fan service is what killed it. Because that's what stopped it from being popular. It went from not talking about how good Fire Force as a show was, it was talking about why is there so much fan service? How can we remove fan service? Like the power system, good. The characters, but they're good enough to carry the show. And the next part of why it's not as popular is that they don't have a standout character, much like Demon Slayer, much like Jujutsu Kaisen, much like mostly other big shows that are up there, have one big character. Jujutsu Kaisen has Gojo, Demon Slayer, you have Zenitsu. You have many other shows that have that character that can make the anime as popular as it can. Fire Force had that with Benimaru. Benimaru or Captain Burns would have definitely been a standout for that show if the show wasn't so spread apart. But then the next part of showing the stupid fan service is going to kill that show, because she do it every chance. It's not like being introduced one off and then she goes back to her squad. She got transferred into the main cast for no reason. And then she eventually, she does everything because as her ability, Lucky Lurch, they made her fan service an ability. Nobody wants to see that. I didn't want to see that. And that's what people are going to complain about, people are going to talk about. And that's why Fire Force, I'm not going to say failed as a show, but failed in terms of it didn't reach the popularity peak, much like Fairy Tail, much like Seven Deadly Sins, much like Fairy Tail, Seven Deadly Sins, Splendor. They didn't reach what it should have been because of the fact of the flaw of fan service and the fact that it doesn't have a standout character. But fan service is what gets a lot of people. Anyway, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.